Good evening, good morning, good evening, good night. Welcome to NFT Live on the Web3 Network. We're going to take you around the industry and back in under an hour, around an hour. It's a new Monday, it's a new week. We're having ourselves a good time to end 2023. Wow. Exciting times, man. I know that the prices are pulling back a little bit. I know the floors don't look as hot as they did yesterday, but it still feels like we've got general positive momentum for the industry. Quick update, real quick. I don't know if we're getting Huda today, but we do have Biggie Poppins potentially joining at the end of the episode. He is traveling. He sends his regards, of course. I'm sitting here with one of my best friends in the space here, Gift Dead. How are you doing this morning, man?
Oh, I'm all right, but it's Monday, so good vibes. We got the Christmas backdrops coming in. I mean, there's lots of good things to talk about, but also here's a reminder to everybody out there to also remember as things pick up and FOMO starts to take hold again, that the amount of scams and scammers are also going to be coming back in the space. So don't do what I tend to do and basically make bad decisions against what I know, like going against what I already know and FOMOing into things, because I've already like made several dumb decisions over the last week or two. So don't be like me. Always take your time, do your own research. Don't FOMO into shit.
All right. If you want to talk about that, we can later in the episode and give somebody a tip or two on the details there. To Club NFT, should I get a Pudgy or just wait for a retrace? That is the question, my friend. We are not financial advisors, but that is a question we're going to attempt to answer today. Easy and Crypto saying GM OVOT jumping in after the meeting. Squashman, Cats Fanatic, and all of you showing up here as we just press live. We appreciate y'all. You know who else I appreciate real quick? I don't say this a lot. I don't get a chance to, but Rektmando has great daily threads recapping the space, a lot like us here at Web3 with our daily rehash. But look at this. We get a shout out from Rektmando for highlighting our daily rehash today. So this was in his, and let me make sure I pull this up so you guys can see
Mondo minutes.
Yeah, it was in his daily Mondo minutes here. You can see gaming and NFT sector, parallel sanctuary marketplace launches today. And I'm sitting there, I'm looking at it, I'm like, okay, I forgot about that. So let me check this out. And it links out to our Web3 daily rehash here, Gift Dead. So big shout out to Rektmando, man. Let's go.
How about that? It's great to see more people starting to pick up on all the hard work that we're doing, putting it into these shows and then curating it into the daily rehashes, these recaps of the top 10 stories each day. And it's a reminder how early we are, because this was from like last week, and he's picking it up and still sharing it out days later. We're so early on so many things because we're so in the weeds on this shit every day, Q. And you know what? It's good to see some people picking up on that. So shout out Rektmando. I really want a Rekt guy. I don't have one.
Yeah, also his Bolianitis is absolutely taking off. So the art on the Mondo minutes, you can see here one of them there, and there's so many better ones than that. I mean, he goes in depth. We actually highlighted it last week as well when he was talking about not pressing the trigger. What's up?
Well, Roger Dickerman highlighted Bold Leonidas as one of the top 5 artists this week, last week on GM Web3 on his new segment. That's because I'd seen that artwork and I wasn't even I wasn't familiar with who the artist is. So very cool.
All right, so that's a little bit of local news here, but we actually have some more to get to. My dashboard is all over the place. The Cowboys were playing a late night game there, the Sunday night game against our vaunted and hated rivals, the Philadelphia Eagles. We actually pulled it out. We kicked their asses.
This guy doesn't take this hat off during the football season. This hat does not come off during the entire football season.
Dude, I can't take it off. I can't. I literally shower with it. It's like a kind of good luck charm at this point. But so my dashboard's all over the place. I stayed up late. I was with a few folks who also cheer for that team. But what it looks like right now, at least from my angle, Pudgy Penguins. You can tell based on the thumbnail. That's what we're getting into. Beanie talking about Sugartown, so Beanie still has a major effect. We got some Oni Force stuff. I do want to hop into base because I was able to kind of jump in over the weekend and kind of check out the ecosystem and see where it is. Those Jack Butcher Oviators sold out, or not sold out. It was kind of an open edition there with a physical piece, and yeah, they're doing well. They're above mint price.
1,700 minted at 0.11. Yeah, Jack Butcher's the master of scale. This guy is just.
He seems to have figured out a way to not dilute his other collections and continue to do well. Like usually when you see someone put out a third, fourth, fifth, sixth piece, it's like, okay, this is do well.
This is, I think, the true power of brand design, because there's really nobody else in Web3 that's doing brand design the way that he is.
Yeah.
Like he's just using NFTs as a medium to create different brands and sub brands of visualized value. And like Opepen is its own brand now. Oviators is its own brand now. Chex is its own brand now. And he's basically launching all these fucking sub brands underneath visualized value, which is his main studio brand. And the way that he's able to create a compelling narrative that is on the zeitgeist and pop up these new brands that all feel interesting and unique on their own, and yet still feel cohesive to him somehow. Dude, he's nobody else is doing what he's doing.
That's a really great breakdown of Jack Butcher. Somehow he's able to pull off some things that other people are getting caught up on.
Well, this is why I'm personally so fascinated by him and why he's become maybe my favorite artist in the whole space, because my whole history is brand design. And what I'm really realizing now is that's what he's doing better than anybody is yeah. Anyway.
All right. Okay, this is what we're going to do. I've got something special that I want to pull up real quick. We're not going to listen to the whole thing. Gifted's going to go out in a tirade here if I do. But we got Jeff Jag in the house, and I want to wish him a good old happy birthday. All right, I hope you enjoyed that, Jeff Jab, because we lost Gifted for that. In perfect timing, Biggie. Oh, muted. You're muted. Gifted, welcome back. Biggie, try to figure out that the audio issue there, man.
What did I miss?
Yeah, we missed a beautiful rendition of Happy Birthday by I don't know who. But yeah, big shout out there to Jeff Jag, who's celebrating, and I won't dox him here with his age. And we also have Biggie Poppins. Thank you for showing up here, sir. I know you're traveling today. Once we get your audio issue filled out, we'll figure it out.
Jeff Jag is 420 years old. You shouldn't shame him about that. There's no shame in his game.
There is none. There is none.
Great to have Biggie. Biggie's not rocking the Moonbirds cap anymore. I'm feeling concerned.
All right, Gif, while we figure out the audio there, I do have another piece of housekeeping and some local news here. Coffins has what, 1 week left? What are we waiting on?
No, like 2 days.
2 days?
Wednesday at midnight. So T-minus 2 days. And I am absolutely doing something that I shouldn't be, because I'm giving away one of my expensive NFTs, which is a Jack Butcher trademark. I only have 3 of these, and I'm giving one away. Basically to whoever mints coffins between now and Wednesday, between the 10th and the 13th, every single coffin minted is 1 entry into this giveaway. So if you mint 3 coffins, you get 3 possible opportunities to win. And so 1 coffin's holder will win that trademark by Jack Butcher. I'm also asking that you like and repost it to help get it in front of more friends. Hopefully I can get some more coffins minted. Would love to get it to 1,000, but it's already over 900, which is pretty amazing.
All right, and the last piece of local news here is going to be Take the Throne. Let's make it quick, but Gif. Let's talk about what we're doing here with Take the Throne.
It's the OG game show from Clubhouse. We're bringing it back with Nifty Kit. Shout out Nifty Kit and all of our amazing friends who are joining the roundtable. Melissa Mimosa from Chum Chums is donating 3 amazing Chum Chums NFTs. We're going to be doing a ton of giveaways. It is the ultimate gift-a-thon. That's what it is. Take the Throne ultimate gift-a-thon this Wednesday night at 6 p.m. on Spaces. Look at those amazing people. Sarah Script, Star Wardy, Cake Nygaard, Claire McGuire, Dan Carr, CEO from Nifty Kit, and Jessica Yatrosky and myself will be on the roundtable. So get in on that. Submit your 1 to 2 sentence pitches if you'd like to participate, because those who do pitch also get exclusive NFT packages on top of all the different giveaways happening. It's going to be a great time.
Okay. All right. We are going to jump into the episode here. This is NFT Live for today. We got a lot of other topics to touch on, but these are some of the main ones we're going to hit. I'm going to share out the episode on all of our socials here in just a moment and drop this link so you can support us if possible. I mean, just a quick couple clicks gets as many people in here to hear the good word as possible. From Ezekiel 4:26:9 gift ed. What was the parable that we listened today?
Do
I walk through the valley of Pudgy?
That was it.
I shall fear no Pud.
Yeah. Ezekiel 4:20:6
on that this morning. Okay, so this is the episode. We are going to jump into it in just a moment, but we also have to get to the disclaimer before we strap off or strap up and blast off. Okay, I'm done. Just take it away. I'll see you guys later.
We're all over the place today. Look, it's Monday. We're still waking up. There's a little bit of Cowboys euphoria and fog that's still clogging up the old brain stem, but it's okay. We're gonna get through it together, like we do. We got through a bear market together, and we're still here, so we can get through this together. We're gonna make it a great day, but any great day starts with knowing and truly remembering that this isn't financial advice. Regardless of how smart we are, it's not financial advice. Regardless of how intelligent we look, it's not financial advice. Always do your own research and just know that this is public domain information. Good. And there's Biggie Poppins. We hear you. Good. So Biggie Alpha Chad Poppins will not be giving financial advice.
Not today.
Sorry.
Biggie, how are you doing, sir? How was your weekend?
Good, man. It's great. Today's my wife's birthday also. So shout out Mrs. Poppins. None.
Let's run it back. Are we running it back?
It's all good. But yeah.
I will turn this show around.
Yeah, but it was good, man. It was a nice weekend. I got to go to Juarez to visit some family and everything. But yeah, the coming back was a bit of a bitch. But we made it. I had to huff it, but it was cool. It gave me an opportunity to put in some Moonbird stickers and some Obit stickers all over the bridge. So that was fun.
All right, for those of you that are sitting here and saying, when the hell is the show going to get on the road here? We just look, we're getting there. I promise you. But we can't escape this without Mrs. Poppins. Come on, Mrs. Poppins. You deserve Mrs. Poppins for putting up with Biggie all the time.
She sure does. Love it. Thank you, fellas.
Gif might honestly quit the show after this. Okay.
It's hey Q. It's my neighbor's birthday tomorrow.
If there was anybody that needed or deserved a happy birthday song, Mrs. Poppins.
I'm pretty sure Quasar's birthday is also this year. We should go ahead and play it some more.
Don't tempt me. Okay. All right. Let's jump into the biggest story of the day and try to get this show back on the road, back on the train tracks. Pudgy Penguins. We're Trailer Maxis here. So you know what? Let's just full send, see if we can kind of recover from the beginning of this show here with the Pudgy Penguins and Pudgy World that was announced at Art Basel. A lot of cool things happening in that ecosystem. Of course, you guys know the floor prices of all of the collection is taking off. There's potentially a Pudgy token in the works. Let's get rolling. Did everybody catch that slide? That smooth?
I love
slide?
Yeah, belly slap.
I mean, we all know how penguins travel, right, Q?
He could have wallowed.
Shouldn't be a surprise. It's not how a penguin moves with urgency. It's giving Ice Age. It's giving Angry Birds. I mean, it's giving Other Side. Yeah, I feel it. I see a lot of potential here. Again, I can definitely see mobile games. I can see.
Well, the first question I have to ask
you know what I mean? I mean,
you're always the very critical when it comes to 3D art. Did they pull it off in this particular stance? I think they did.
These aren't, yeah. Well, that was great animation, but these also aren't NFTs. 3D NFTs are very hard. To just do like a cool animation is difficult. But I mean, we've seen other good 3D animations in the space. We just haven't seen that many good 3D NFT collections. Because to do generative art with 3D assets is particularly difficult.
There's a couple highlights here as well. It looks like there was a Pudgy World arcade game at Art Basel, so we can look at some of the highlights there. I will say, apparently Pudgy World does not induce any like sort of physics into their game or their metaverse, because there's no way that Pudgy survives that fall. There's just zero chance. He was like the fact that somehow he was able to make it after flying 1,000 yards into the air. It boggles my mind. All right, so I'm gonna fade the Pudgies on that.
Also, Jack's Hideaway pointing out that it's kind of ludicrous that a penguin's scared of falling in the water.
There were sharks in the water. Yeah.
Oh, that was it. Okay. That makes sense.
All right. So
yeah. One question that I do have about this is meant to be a game, right? Like, it's not a metaverse, or like, has it been specified if it's going to be a metaverse and a game, or just a game? Like, because yeah,
this is a really good conversation to have, because a lot of people were basically saying Pudgy Penguins is front running the Other Side. Like, they're making a kind of open, I wouldn't call it open world. It looks like it has some parameters, but they're making some type of like community game where people can go in and just be able to show off their IP and just hang out. That seems to be what the Pudgy World essentially is with this chapter 1.
Okay, but and there's a gaming aspect to it, right? Where it's like, I think one of it's like Pudgy and Peaches or something, and it's like getting them back together. I'm not sure. I only got a chance to scroll a little bit through the Twitter sphere this weekend, but it looks really good, man. I like it.
So
I mean,
from what I've seen, and this is the real innovative part, because I had to defend my Bored Ape Yacht Club this weekend, because a lot of people with the recency bias in this industry are like, I think Bryson said they're rewriting the playbook, or they're writing the playbook on how to display IP. It's like, bro, this gives me Other Side vibes. Like the Bored Ape has already shown how to create a really cool IP that is shown off in the gaming environment and built that way, right? And having a community that holds those, get utility and all these things. Pudgy's definitely evolving, and I love what I'm seeing from them. Don't get me wrong. But BAYC has already done some of this with Dookie Dash and what they're trying to do with the other side. Biggie, the one thing I will say that to me feels innovative is they're tying a lot of this into the physical products. And I think Neopets or some other kind of physical products have tried to do this before, where they have the physical product in the store and then you buy it and you get to like scan a QR code or something and you get to enter the metaverse. Is essentially the play here that Pudgy's being innovative with, at least in the Web3 sense. I know this has, I think, been attempted before on the Web2 side. That's where I see the innovation.
So a lot of these Walmart, things that people have been picking up will be somehow claimable or applicable here in this metaverse. That looks cool, man. That's good.
They're all attached to the digital experience. They all have QR codes and they're all tracked, and that's been what they've been building the whole time. Is this funnel, right? So they what they've mastered better than anybody. Because look, they're not like reinventing the sort of like metaverse idea or how to build your IP towards games. That's kind of nonsense. Whoever's saying that they're leading that, they're doing a great job with that. But what Pudgy Penguins has done better than anybody and has actually written the playbook for is how to build the top of your funnel, how to create a top funnel and fill that with a ton, like create actual demand from people, both Web3 and Web2. And they're doing that through massive toy distribution, through awesome content, through social media campaigns. Dude, their Instagram has over 1 million followers and is reaching like 60 million people in a month or some shit like that. It's insanity what they're doing in terms of like filling in the top funnel, building awareness, and driving people into their world. Nobody else has been able to accomplish that.
No.
So the other portion, I'm going to pull up some highlights while we talk about this. The other point of discussion, I guess you could say, is this whole, again, I hate to bring it back to some type of like versus, but it seems like people are like, okay, Pudgy's going to be the face of NFTs. I think Luca even came out and said that in a post. He's trying to make Pudgy's be the face of NFTs, which is not a shot at BAYC, but it is a little bit of a, hey, this is us, we're here.
It is.
Are they going to supplant Bored Ape Yacht Club as the #1 collection in NFTs in 2024? Yes or no?
Yes. Because here's why. Well, no, okay. They won't fully supplant, but I think they will be the other half of the coin. And what I mean is that I think Bored Apes will continue to be the face of it to everybody who hates NFTs, and everybody who loves NFTs is going to use Pudgy Penguins, because one of them's more friendly. One of them has a lot of negative sentiment and negative baggage around the brand. Because it's been there and it's not as family friendly and it's not as new. It doesn't have the recency bias. It's going to be tied to all the negative baggage of shit that's been happening. So I think Bored Apes is going to continue to be a face of NFT, but largely it's going to be the scapegoat. It's going to be the negative sentiment side, the two-faced, side of NFTs. There will be Bored Ape and Pudgy Penguins. Pudgy Penguins being the bright new, bushy-tailed, bright-eyed NFTs as people do start to come back in and look at it differently and be like, oh, wow, there's actually people doing cool shit, even though there was already Bored Apes and other people doing cool shit. But they'll be like, oh, wait, look at this. It's not just a bunch of fratty crypto bros fucking getting high all the time. Look, my kids love this. Look how cute and fun it is. So that's what I think. I think it'll be two faces of NFTs, largely held by Bored Apes and Pudgy's, and unfortunately I think Bored Apes is going to get the shittier side of that stick.
Any of the comments I make are tough because I'm a BAYC community member, have been for a very, very long time, so it feels like I'm being biased towards them. And I will say, like, the recency bias will say right now that Pudgy Penguins is going to be taking over Yuga. And Jax, you're making a great point, and it's felt by the entire Yuga and BAYC like ecosystem right now. They're moving slow. it feels like they're getting lapped.
Well, they're also
Penguins.
trying to encompass a whole lot more, right? Like they have a lot more things that they've already declared and put, capital behind. Whereas, like, I think what Cam Taylor is saying right here is like that. Yeah, Pudgy's is not 100% going into one thing. They're just having a whole bunch of different touch points, or as Gift had alluded to, a funnel to bring people into that ecosystem, right? Which I definitely think is empowering to them. Having said that, I also think, like, I don't know, us in the crypto sphere tend to get ahead of our skis very quickly with trailers and roadmaps and flashy, lingo here and there. I still think that I want to see things pan out and prove out, right? Like I'd love to be able to play that game and see what that turns out to be like. And I also think that there's other projects that can potentially come in and compete at that same level, right? For the cuddly and new inviting PFP. Claynosaurus comes to mind, where with the heating up of Solana ecosystem and kind of like trying to do a similar thing. I wonder if which is going to be more approachable or easy to hold on to, right? Something that's a lot more efficient when it comes to transactions, and on a chain like Solana, or if it's going to be, like you said, this big funnel that Pudgy's has created with the fact that you don't need to own a Pudgy in order to partake in the Pudgy ecosystem, right? Which is something, maybe I'm wrong there, but that's kind of what I've understood, that as long as you go and buy one of these things at Walmart, you'll have access to the Pudgy ecosystem, which is, again, a very easy way to onboard somebody. It'll be interesting to see which route people take. I'm just saying, like, we just got out of, Miami, Art Basel. Everybody's hyped. Everybody was having a great time partying. We have a whole bunch of really big move announcements come out of there. And so it's very easy to get caught up in the euphoria, but let's see how it pans out. It's a great, I think, start, or at least a preamble to what is coming in 2024 for Pudgy's. And yeah, the future looks bright. It looks great.
So there's, to me, another thing that stands out. BAYC didn't have much presence at Art Basel at all. And that's obviously from like their strategy perspective. They didn't have anything that really like stood out. If they had any events, I don't know of them. And I think what they did was they heavily said, hey, we're going into Ape Fest, and that is what we're kind of banking on to end the year. And so they had a phenomenal Ape Fest over there in Hong Kong. They did really, really well. The sentiment just seems to be really, really low, and a lot of it has to do, and it sucks that we have to keep bringing it up, Heavy Metal and Legends of the Mara have been terrible.
So
that sucks for them. While Pudgy's executing very, very well, Yuga's doing the exact opposite. So you could actually have a timeline, GIF, where potentially Heavy Metal's awesome. Like that, yeah, put that into your mental model. Like it's so far from being an awesome game that it's even tough to do that. But if Heavy Metal and Legends of the Mara were fucking awesome, I think we would be sitting in a different spot, having a different combo.
Absolutely.
It depends also like what you're wanting to purchase that NFT for, right? Like I still personally, I would prefer much more to have a Bored Ape, but that's because like the last thing that interests me in the Bored Ape ecosystem is the gaming aspect. Sure, the metaverse play, I can't wait to see what that turns out to be like, but I like it more as far as like the community and what they're building, the Made by Apes ecosystem, and what potentially can happen with the Ape DAO, right? Like that's the side that interests me as a Web3 user that's been around for a while. It may not be for somebody else if it just wants to come in and play with penguins and like a little game and whatever, and that's fine too. Like I find it very odd that people immediately, I mean, it's a common tendency, right, to immediately draw comparisons to other projects when sometimes like their actual comparable strategies or roadmaps are like 10% where they overlap, right, and the rest is like completely different purpose, aim, way of moving. So I don't know, man. I think people are being like maybe a little too tough on Yuga. Maybe not. Like, I mean, they have been around a while, but I do think that they're trying to do a whole lot more, and they are in a very different place already, having been the poster child of the NFT space in the previous cycle. So I think it's right that this time around Pudgy seems to be taking that throne and running with it. Let's see how they execute, though.
A lot of great comments.
I saw somebody talking about they made the mistake of acting like they were a big company and operating like a big company instead of being like a startup, a scrappy startup. And I think that's true. They got away from just being, a couple guys making decisions on the fly, and started operating probably like a larger company. And I think that's you've seen the result of that and why they're moving much slower and getting lapped right now. It's probably because, again, they started to scale up too quickly and they lost some of that sort of startup hustle and energy in that transition to becoming a gaming publisher. And yeah, that's, Luca still has that, right? They have that edge of being extremely agile and not having any of that bureaucratic inertia and whatever else, additional friction. But Claynosaurs, I think will have a big place. I just don't think that they are going to compare to Pudgy as far as being the face of NFTs. Claynosaurs have
where Claynosaurs come in.
Well, Biggie brought them up as an example when we were saying what's going to be the face of NFTs. Claynosaurs is great.
Competitor.
Claynosaurs has a floor of, they're like, to be the face of NFTs, you have to have big enough numbers that everybody's paying attention, plus that larger market distribution. Claynosaurs has a floor of $3,500 right now. Pudgy Penguins has like a $20,000 to $25,000 floor, and their distribution is just so much bigger. So I think Claynosaurs is great, but if one of them is going to be the face of NFTs, it's Pudgy Penguins.
I agree that floor price does come into the conversation. You cannot have that without bringing it up. But I don't think that is a detriment, like the determining factor for what could or should be the face of NFTs, right? Like it depends, again, I think, on what you're buying that asset for, right? Like Quantum right now is talking about like who is before has said to flip apes, right? Apes. Punks did it. I recall a moment in time when Azuki was very close to doing that too, right? Like really close. A hair's breadth.
Drop.
Hey, but wait. Remember back in that day, GIF, when everybody was like, these guys are the future. They're going to be the face. Yep. The fucking floor is ripping. There's no way they can fucking fail. What happened?
Oh, yeah. Do I remember?
So that's why I don't like to latch on to these hype fucking comments that people like to make. I love seeing the euphoria out there. It's bullish for the space. Dreaming is free. Executing is very fucking hard. And so I let's see what the next chapter holds.
If you guys see any of these other comments that you want to highlight, a lot of them are coming through it, and a lot of them make a ton of sense. I will say, and this might have been talked about here in the chat, again, you guys are really hitting it pretty heavy here. Pudgy has no responsibility right now. They don't have any of the FUD. They haven't been around in the capacity that they are in now, where they're at the top of the pack, and they haven't had to deal with that responsibility of being the most known project. Right now, it's like flavor of the week, maybe flavor of the year, right? 2024 might be the year of Pudgy, but there will be a time where they will be fudded in the same way BAYC was. It's just they're on their honeymoon right now. What's that?
And how's that going to happen? Because I have a pretty good idea, right? Like I think like Pudgy's turnaround story came when Luca Next took over, right? And what was the floor of Pudgy's there? Like an ETH, maybe a little bit less. People bought in. Right now, you have people flipping Fidenzas to sweep Pudgy floor. And believe me, coming from an ecosystem that launched and had a ton of hype and people bought in at the top, when you don't perform, when you pivot, those people, the ones that bought up at the tippity top, they're not happy campers. And they get really angry.
Yeah. Yeah. So the things,
different positions.
The things that are gonna turn it is when it gets too frothy. You've got people buying in at the top, and inevitably it can't handle such a high floor price, and it starts to turn. And the people that bought in at the top will be unhappy and feel trapped, or just negative sentiment starts to creep in. But also the token event. If there's no token, that's negative at this point. We saw what happened with Gutter Cats. So now they either launch a token or they're going to get fudded to death by a bunch of people. And then even when they launch the token, there's a million different ways that can go poorly, whether it's Luca Nets and the team cashing out somehow too quickly, or not allocating it properly, or not having enough utility to sustain the price, whatever it is, once you have a token, you really become a fucking target for a lot of different financial conversations. Yeah. And that's never ends well. Like when the focus of any project gets away from IP, creative, vibes, community, cool experiences, and merch, and it focuses solely on money, you're fucked.
All right, I'm going to wrap up this combo because we do have other topics to get to on today's episode here with this tweet, because people are wondering what is Pudgy World? Like, where does this all fit in? It's pretty clear and laid out in this initial post, or at least the reply to it. Pudgy World is a digital experience that closes the loop for our physical products. By having Pudgy World and merchandise that are easily accessible and marketed to the masses, we serve as the first NFT and blockchain touch point to the public. So essentially, again, Gifted hones in on this top funnel scenario where somebody finds a Pudgy Penguin in a store, which is a little bit different than what we initially were dealing with, which was just people going into a digital environment and getting exposed to NFTs in this way. You're hitting somebody with a physical product, and then you're trying to bring them in to blockchain that way, which again is, I think, the main innovative piece here with Pudgy Penguins.
I wonder, that's my fault. I should go to Walmart and see how these things are sold and what the labeling and the packaging is like, right? Because I feel like you said, Q, out of those 10 kids that are like with their mom going through the toy aisle and they decide to pick a Pudgy instead of a Mickey Mouse or whatever, I imagine the instinct immediately is like, oh, well, I prefer the look of this Pudgy than to this Mickey Mouse thing. But when you read the fine print, right, or you look at the package, like, oh, there's some kind of claimable digital item there. Like, I do think a lot of these kids are not, maybe they don't even have access to a computer yet. They're not old enough to navigate, or it falls on the parents, responsibility to go claim that asset or to see what it's about. And how many of them are aware of Web3 or care to look at what that package is, or won't just tear it out and be like, here's your fucking penguin, throw it in the trash. Oh, I didn't even know it had a claimable. I'd love to see what those numbers are like how many people are actually claiming that asset, right? Initially, I think, I imagine it's pretty high, since a lot of these people are Web3 natives, the ones that went and stormed Walmart to buy these things at first. But as it progresses, and as you try to onboard normies that don't have any clue about it and just buy it because they like the IP, that's where I want to see how good they are at actually getting them to take action, right, from physical to digital.
Yes, the next part of that funnel. Yeah, 100%. Mm-hmm. All right, we're gonna transition here. A lot of fantastic comments, man. I feel bad not getting to all of them here, but Cam Taylor saying Pudgy has way more mass market potential versus BAYC because of the character. Cute broad versus crypto bro niche. Let's see. There's a couple
all
others.
Super valid points.
Pudgy's going the doodles route. That's an interesting comparison. That's probably true. All right, last thing, and I'll just like cap this off with a broad statement. After the whole 2021 run and all of this stuff, the detractors came out and said, look, that stuff is never going to happen again. The euphoria will never be matched because of things like COVID, stimulus checks. Everybody was inside. That was how this metaverse thing picked off. I will give Luca this credit. He is showing the detractors that they are 100% wrong, and I couldn't be happier for Pudgy Penguins, man.
All right, one of those. Yeah.
Only as if deals in absolutes, right? Whenever you hear never, can't, should, just fucking look away. Like, you should know better by now, especially if you're in this space. It's like, don't. As plausible as the argument may be, it can happen.
Okay.
That's all I'll say.
Gif, last thoughts. I love the Star Wars reference, but go ahead.
Well, one of those detractors was Beanie, who was out there talking mad shit.
Yeah, dude.
And it's interesting. Yeah, don't forget he when the Walmart announcement came out, Beanie fudded the shit out of it.
Absolutely.
And that was the first time that I saw him like walk back his statements, because everybody in the community was like, dude, you're an idiot. Like, stop. Like, why are you out here literally fudding the only good thing in the space right now, when it's actually like pretty cool that we're doing this? Yeah. So anyway, remember that. But it's interesting to see his arc now coming out and talking positive about projects that he likes. Like he's trying to rebrand himself now as, hey, I'm not just the negative fudding whatever guy. I'm also going to celebrate cool projects, because he actually does still have a lot of sway, and he pumped the Oras, the Sugartown Oras, like crazy.
Yeah, we can put that post up here just in a moment. Let's transition out of the Pudgy Penguin story. Thank you guys for tuning in to NFT Live today, by the way. I see we're almost hitting at least a monthly all-time high here in just a moment. So yeah, big shout out if you're watching on X. We see you guys. We usually get a solid amount of individuals over there, as well as on YouTube. If you're watching us live or afterwards, Choina, you guys are awesome. The whole growth of the channel, we showed Rektmando picking up our daily rehash. Like, that is just validation, man. But I want
to see that.
Yeah, dude, I got to show you this link.
Huge news about news, just like Decrypt and Rug Radio. How meta can we be? Is this the metaverse? It must be, because we're doing news about the news and news reporting on news.
Dude, should we not bring up the Rex situation GIF? Is that what you want?
No, it's great. I just think it's hilarious that we're up here reporting about a post that we did in the past. It was picked up by another reporter.
We're stacking it.
It's just funny. It's just funny.
It's like media Ponzi. It's a media Ponzi what we're running.
It's a Ponzu.
It's a media Ponzu. I know a lot of creators, you know, kind of they say the mantra. And they're like, hey, we love you guys. We support you guys. Thank you for supporting us. But we've been at this a long time, and a lot of y'all have been there from the very beginning. And to everybody that's been supporting us all the way along. And I did want to give a brief shout out to DP, because we did talk in DMs after Friday, and I know I kind of blew up. And sometimes that happens when we're live, like the emotions get a little bit high. And I apologize, first of all, for blowing up while we were live. So DP, one of the best community members that we've had. Again, appreciate you all the way through, man. You guys really, like, we would not be doing this if like one person showed up each day. Like, you guys are fucking awesome.
There was a Q blow up.
It wasn't that Friday? Much of a blow up, but it was just like something that needed to be addressed. And it was my honestly, while we're live,
dude, we're all human, Q. And I think you're one of the good ones. So, you know, I'm sure it was not meant. And so is DP. He's a fucking awesome community member as well. So
yeah, but also by the way, we need to qualify this statement. When we say thank you, shout out to all those who are supporting, we only mean the ones that are actually liking the show and sharing it out. Yeah. Just to be clear.
If you're sitting here downvoting the episode, I don't know if that comment extends to you.
Or just listening and not actually giving it a like. Questionable.
All right, our Vibe Our Tribe. Let's get to the next piece here. And I know it shows Pudgy, but really this is about the entirety of 2023. I want to keep this segment to like 5 minutes. I know we could spend a whole episode on what we learned in 2023, but this is a really cool thread here. So he starts in January, he goes all the way up to December. There were a lot of highlights. There's some PTSD in here. I think we faded maybe a half. I'd say a solid half of these things.
No, it's like 80 to 90%.
And so let's go through it, right? So he's got the video. It doesn't show much, but you can see, like, if you stop it, you got Pudgies in Walmart, meme coin. What else do we have here? OpenSea Nakas here. But let's go through the thread here. And if anything stands out, please stop me here. I'll go very quick. Meme Land in January, faded this heavily. Utes moving to Polygon, guys, in January. Dookie Dash all the way back in January. This feels like 3 years ago.
This is going to take 30 minutes.
Checks minting out in February. So moving on to the next month, checks. You guys were all over this meta, by the way. We were up here live minting the shit out of these things.
I wasn't on top of it enough.
I mean, I was gonna say we were all on top of that meta except the fucking checks. That was a big miss.
I definitely did okay on the Opepins.
Yep, and that's next. Opepin was born. Super Bowl ads from Digidaigaku. First Blur airdrop. To me, that feels like one of the biggest stories of 23 for me is Blur just putting the nail in the coffin on OpenSea. Dude, like, you go to marketplaces now, OpenSea has just taken off. I think they do like 10% of the volume.
Think about how much Jack Butcher has accomplished since February, though.
Yeah, as a person, he's the biggest winner. Yes.
That's when he launched his first real thing with checks, was February. It's been less than a year, and that dude has literally done so much. It's insane.
Doodles launching on Flow blockchain. Carson. Oh, Ryan Carson.
That was Doodles
February?
That was this year, man. That is insane. Really? That was this year. It feels like it was last year.
Oh, wait. I thought Ryan Carson left like 2 months ago. He left in February?
Wow.
Man. Holy shit.
Dude, that was Doodles 2, and he doesn't even say Doodles 2 because everybody forgot about Doodles 2. What the fuck? We never talked about it after it launched.
On to March, and I'd love for the commenters here to hit us with some good ones. If we're missing any as we go through the month, I want to know about them. Also, I'm not going to mention, and GIF, you did a good job of calling Whale out here. We love Whale, but the Azuki mentions in here are ridiculous. It's like the weirdest not news story that like
it's
randomly
uncomfortable.
Makes it. Yeah.
It's actually uncomfortable. The way that he forces Azuki like non-headlines into this.
I remember this. We were covering Amazon Marketplace in March. In March or February, around ETH Denver, we were covering this. Still nothing. Utes bridge to Polygon, DeGods to Ethereum. Second other side trip. Nakamigos. Oh, Mochaverse. Faded generational wealth there from Mochaverse. Solid. Nakamigos minting. April, I'm not talking about Chiru Labs. Let's talk about OpenSea Pro launches. Okay, Bitcoin ordinals. So Whale misses this because Biggie, when did you have Mark on to talk about Bitcoin ordinals?
Early in the year. Early in the year, like February, before I took off on my trip. So yeah,
this is when it started to take off, though. I think like we were so early on it because we were literally talking to him like a few weeks before it picked up, and we faded it. We were like, "Oh, this is really cool. Let's learn about it," and then took no steps, and then it fucking took off a couple weeks later. And we were like, "Hey, you remember when we were talking to Mark about this thing?" Yeah, that was cool.
All right, Pudgy's releasing. Let me make sure what month. Okay, in May, Pudgy Penguins released their toys. And Beanie fudded the shit out of it. Blur introduced NFT lending, so Blend came out. Let's see. Azuki, no. Elemental. So this is basically where we full nuked. This was just getting back to it.
Beginning of the end.
Yes. And we needed to, I guess, shed all of that money to get to where we are now, guys, right?
Well, we started shedding money again this weekend, right? Like yesterday or last night, everybody started freaking out.
Okay. Elementals. Who are the other ones? Ether avatars. This was that weekend that we had just like that. Oh, we're potentially getting the NFTs back, and then they just nuked. Ether, Ringer's Goose, Machi. Thread guy changing to this is when O'Peppins really took off, right? Like really took off was when Thread guy was in the midst of his PFP change.
No, this was a side effect of them already being a big deal. This was like they took off in like March, April after checks took off, and that's when I flipped all mine. So I like this was like a month or 2 or 3 after they'd already had a big moment, and then that's the like collaboration aspect of it is part of what solidified them in the culture as like being iconic and being important. Getting
closer to our time frame now a little bit. OpenSea announced move to 0% royalties in 2024. DeGods 3 launched in August, I guess. Points Parlors are already dead. Ordinals reaching an all-time low in trading volume, so we saw that kind of up and down motion. Friendtech in August, guys. It's been a wild ride. September now. We're getting right up to the moment. Pudgy Penguins releases Pudgy toys in Walmarts. Oh, the 95% of NFTs marked pretty much the bottom, probably. So we got a Rolling Stone. NFTs are worthless. And then we started to pick back up here in October. That's when everything really started to pick up. Flooring Protocol launch. Meme coin farming launches. Blast in November. Simpsons episodes, and now we're fully in this like little mini bull that we find ourselves in. Pudgy Penguins, Soul NFT run, Mad Lads, and that's where we are today. All right, we made it through. Didn't take that long, guys. 2023. What's your biggest takeaway? We're looking here. We're sitting here 2 years from now. What's your biggest takeaway from this year?
Like we never left. You know, I mean, dude, I know like that it's been really hard for most of us to see our bags fucking 80, 90%, you know, down. But I think it's very clear also that, you know, when we look at all of this and how it's performed in spite of a bear market, that makes me very bullish to see everything that's being built, to see the collections, the OG collections hold their ground. You know, I mean, in spite of going down, you know, from their all-time highs, I mean, dude, squiggles at this point are like a stable coin in fucking art, right? Like in gen art, like they just don't budge below a certain amount. Like it's amazing. They get swept up so fast. I think it's the same when it comes to punks, apes, like several other collections that have just like kind of led the way, like, and the communities behind them as well, right? Like everything that they've been building, going to Marfa was just, I couldn't be more bullish for the space. Like it's, you know, like to me, that's the biggest takeaway, you know, that in spite of everything you hear from Vice and all these other news anchors out there saying that they're dead, using all those words like never again and all that. If you're in this space, I think it's very easy to see that this is just the beginning and that nobody here is thinking of going away. You know, like whoever has survived through this bear, I just see conviction whenever I speak to them, you know, like even if we're not into the same collection or into the same chain, like everybody that has survived this bull market has done so because they have a ton of conviction behind their projects and their chains. And that's what it takes, man. I think that's exactly the type of people that should have survived. And we're in here together. I'm just happy to be here with all y'all, you know, because it's going to be a good next year. I think we're going to have fun.
Yeah. Well, in that recap, there was no mention of Sugartown Oras and Zynga. There was no mention of Rafik Anadol. And missed. On that note, really not any generative art inclusion at all. And I do think one of the biggest takeaways of the entire bear market, so definitely of the year, but even like part of last year too, is exactly what Biggie said, which is the proving out of the hypothesis that NFTs, especially fine art NFTs, are an actual store of value, are a true asset class in of themselves that will stand the test of time. I think that has been proven. And it's largely through like squiggles, punks, fine art like Rafik Anadol, things like that, other high-end generative artworks. The fucking ringers and the goose was mentioned. I think that was like the one, maybe the only single mention in that entire thread. But that is so powerful because that is an anchor for the rest of NFTs. The fact that like we now have fine art NFTs that have survived this bear market, held to their value, that are now looked at differently around the world by fine art collectors, because fine art has always been a store of value. And now you can do it digitally. This is an improvement. You are dematerializing these old giant paintings and things that are stuck in a house and hard to protect and hard to insure and deal with and move around. You are dematerializing that into the metaverse, into the cloud. And now you can have a store of value in these high-end art NFTs. And that, again, that anchors the value of the whole movement.
And vice versa, right, Giff? Because we're also making physicals into the NFTs now, right? Thanks to IYK's chips, thanks to Transient Labs, what used to be a very boilerplate, regular approach to an NFT now can take so many different forms, right? And they're just getting started too. Like, I think it's very easy to just look below the surface and be like, damn, like this is something, right? And I don't even get me started on music, which its moment hasn't arrived yet, but it will. Mark my words. Well, like we have seen it everywhere. Trans storytelling media, you name it.
There's a new song camp, a new platform that we should check out because I think it's doing something interesting with music. But separate to that, what you were saying about, we like to sort of shout out and pat ourselves on the back, those of us who like never left. But it is actually interesting if you try and think about like historically the importance of this bear market specifically for NFTs surviving and becoming a legitimized asset class, that during this bear market, there was less than 5,000 active collectors and traders keeping shit alive, like keeping shit like actually moving. So like, while there were people that never left and there was people that were still here, like doing their thing, maybe there was very few people active and actually like keeping volume, collecting, trading, like keeping this as not literally, like we might've gone down 90%, but it stayed alive. There was that 10% of people or whatever it was of active wallets. Like historically, I think those people are fucking important.
We need a soulbound token or something to recognize our efforts. I agree with you, Giff.
Machi was like half the market at one point. Like people love to shit on him, but he put a lot of liquidity into the market, and I think he lost a shit ton of money too. Doing so.
He's made a shit ton of money too. Like we've all had wins and losses at this point. His losses just look bigger because his wins are also big.
All right. To me, it feels like when we look back, this is the first step here, late 2023 of the GameFi narrative taking off. Like officially with cool games, we're finally seeing it. I'll look back at this time and say, okay, it was then. I do think Rafiq Anadol was left off the list and he shouldn't have been. It could be the year of Rafiq, to be honest, like what he did for generative art.
Jerry Saltz had fun.
I honestly think you could do a thread for each sector of the NFT space like that. Like you could do one just for generative art and fine art. You could do one just for PFP projects. You could do one, just go down the list. Dude, we have SocialFi now.
Yeah, SocialFi.
We have not mentioned it. Like it may not have been the most successful yet, but the fact that we're knocking on that door already, you know that is going to be cracked, just like DeFi was cracked. It's just a matter of time. Like, it's insane. You can point your finger anywhere in this space, and you will see innovation and growth and potential. Like, please, other than AI and maybe like rejuvenation, CRISPR, like gene editing tech, please tell me, where do you get to see this type of growth, these types of risk rewards? Nowhere.
All right, I'm going to bring up and transition us to another conversation. We got a couple other big stories, but also I want to hop into base for a second as well. Biggie, this is the tweet that I was mentioning, which is going to kind of lead us into the next conversation, which is Rektmando in his Mondo Minutes. You can't really see it here from this angle, but in there you can see Parallel Sanctuary Marketplace launches today. I clicked out this morning into that because I'm like, holy shit, Sanctuary. I completely forgot about that. We covered that on Friday, and it happens to link out to Web3's daily rehash thread covering Sanctuary. So yeah, as Gift had mentioned, super meta. They're covering us covering something else. So yeah, very meta, but yeah, big shout out to Rektmando there.
It's all part of the flywheel. It's all part of the flywheel cube.
I do want to get into the base discussion here in a moment with the time we have left, but I do want to give that parallel story some time. Sanctuary does go live today. It's going to be a huge thing for the ecosystem, in my opinion, just being able to see the cards and be able to purchase the cards more easily. Right now, it's a little bit disjointed with going to OpenSea. So it's just a tough, just take my word for it, it's a tough buying experience for new people trying to get in and figure out what NFT cards they need to buy. And so Sanctuary basically brings that all under one kind of mode. I might even be able to show you guys really quick. Yeah. So this maybe
is it up?
It should be launched today, but you can see a little bit of this. It's just a native Prime marketplace that needed it. But the bigger story to me was the Invitational that happened over the weekend. You can see here Bunny Hopper, who, by the way, is the Hearthstone champion. So the recent Hearthstone Invitational or whatever, they basically invited 16 traditional trading card or game streamers to this tournament, this Parallel Invitational for $10,000, and it was amazing. There were so many streamers on Twitch that were streaming Parallel, 300, 500, 800 viewers, and to see the Hearthstone champion win the parallel, so now he's the Conor McGregor double belt champ.
This is
a pretty cool moment to see.
The two-time. This is it's actually interesting because I am not super steeped in trading card games and understanding that, but it's interesting to see somebody having such a unique skill set for trading card games that they can translate it and be a champion across these different games. Because you'd think like, yo, these are totally different worlds, different game mechanics. The lore is totally different. How the characters work, like you've got to learn so much. And then there's just different variables, etc. But like, no, this guy is a trading card G. Like he understands how to win trading card games apparently, and that's kind of interesting and cool.
Damn.
Yeah, so we'll be following the Sanctuary release here today. That is happening. Yeah, and again, shout out to Rektmando. All right, I'm going to talk quickly. Actually, before we get to the base piece, I want to briefly mention this Rug Radio Decrypt partnership. I haven't looked into the details around this. I think it was one of the more surprising announcements to come out of Art Basel. I didn't see this on my bingo card whatsoever. Rug Radio Decrypt. I think Rug Radio purchased. It says merging, but I think Rug might have bought Decrypt, or am I tripping on that?
I mean, I think Rug Radio has raised more funds than Decrypt, so I wouldn't be surprised. But I think it's more of just a coming together, and yeah, like the details we'll dig into further. But it is interesting because there is an opportunity to disrupt the existing media landscape with Web3 tech and decentralization and different types of user-based incentives and tokenization, and they're going to be leading the fray. Like they'll be experimenting with their own token in no time. I have no doubt. And a lot of it, so like Decrypt's editors will be bringing that sort of like responsibility and professionality to it, and Rug will be bringing the community and a lot of the user-generated content. And so they're going to be trying to incentivize people to create a bunch of content for them through unique ways.
Well, I'm really interested to see how this plays out, and I'm sure like this is something that was probably top of mind, especially with Rug Radio. I am no expert in it, but I have friends that are very much into the Rug Radio ecosystem, and I know that there's assets there that yield a certain token, and they've been hustling for that. So it'll be interesting how they are able to how would I say, like integrate it right within Decrypt or not, because you can't exactly just phase that out, right? Or give these, like, I don't know. It'll be very interesting to see how this merger occurs, but yeah, it's pretty big, I guess. I'm particularly not a follower of Decrypt. I was like way back when, and then I moved on to other newsletters. I feel like they're a little bit like CoinDesk, like they cover the macro, the surface level kind of. I've never really seen like big takes. We'll see.
My one big criticism of like what Decrypt and same with like NFT Now goes, I appreciate them both to an extent, but a lot of their coverage is very stilted because it's all pay to play, right? To keep their lights on as a business, they'll basically be covering anybody who's paying them. And so then you get all of this content that's presented like it's unbiased, like, hey, we're just covering this new drop or this new project, but it's only people that are paying them a bunch of money to be highlighted on their platform. And so that's the one thing that I've always kind of like had a side eye or a little bit of distrust around some of those media models, is that they're very top down. They're not community driven. So I think what's interesting about this is you might have a better mix now, because you might have more bottom up community driven content being created and incentivized with a little bit of that professional gloss and editorial on top of it. I don't know, man. I'm optimistic for it. I have my own issues with Rug Radio for various reasons, but I want it to succeed. And again, I look at it kind of like how I would hope that people that aren't fans of Bored Apes look at Yuga as like, we should want them to succeed for the benefit of the whole space. That's kind of what I see here.
All right, I'm going to transition us here to the main story before we get up out of here. I will mention very briefly that there was an announcement that we covered on the rehash here on the network We do 10-minute videos that basically encaptures the 24-hour news and top headlines into one little short episode. We covered the fact that 10KTF is back. And I want to make sure I'm looking at the right collection here, but this might be some alfalfa for you guys because 10KTF G tags, the PFP of that community, hasn't moved an inch in 30 days. I mean, this is just, at this point, the volume isn't dead, but there's not much happening here where the rest of the space is actually picking up. So I'm always kind of looking out for any projects that are notable that have no volume and haven't seen a 200% pickup in this last run. What do you think, Gif?
I've been looking at this and thinking a lot about it too, and I think it's because of the broader kind of confusion and FUD around Yuga right now. I don't think anybody fully understands 10KTF and how it fits into the larger ecosystem and what they're doing. Like and we've talked about from day one, the friction with the depth of their chasm of complexity over there is a big barrier to entry for people that haven't already been super deep in it. We've brought on friends and people who've been deep into it to talk about this with us, and I still am like kind of just like I think I get most of it, but I know that I don't really get a lot of it still.
It was wild to see that amount of little amount of liquidity or little amount of volume for 10KTF though, and it hasn't moved a freaking inch. I need to make sure I'm looking at the right collection. That's how I felt.
The other part that I'm confused about right now is how to even trade Yuga assets.
Yeah.
Like I'm guessing these are trading on Blur fine, right? But didn't they like remove a lot of their assets from OpenSea and like other marketplaces that aren't doing royalties?
On GM Web 3, and I'm not going to blow up this guy's spot anymore, but apparently there's some movement in February for both a new Magic Eden NFT collection and an exclusive rights with Yuga coming in February. So that's all I'll say on that. I don't know, Gif. I mean, I'm trading on OpenSea and Blur when it comes to the Yuga assets. You can see that they're on OpenSea and Blur from the UI. All right.
Well, yeah, I don't know. Those are I think some of the concerns is that because there's so much uncertainty and questions right now around what Yuga is doing, especially with 10KTF, I think that's just weighing it down. And so this might end up, to your point, being like one of those sort of obvious winners that's very undervalued right now. Or it could be something that people just stopped caring about and like are kind of over, and they're just like, you know what, I'm moved on.
Name me a project besides Gutter Cat Gang like that though. Like name me first of all, 10KTF is also a new project when it comes to the collection, right? G tags haven't even revealed yet, and so you don't have this like, oh, they've been around for 2 years, 3 years. These are brand new. It's in the Yuga ecosystem, and it hasn't. I don't know. There's something here. Maybe we could talk about it off air as well, Gif, and see. I do want to transition really quick to this last piece, which is going to be around base. I was motivated by a Hunter Solaire post that basically was like, "Look, everybody's seeing Solana. Maybe the alfalfa moved on. Maybe it hasn't. I don't necessarily believe that it's gone from Solana, but moving to other chains to potentially see where the opportunity is
I've been seeing that a lot. I've been seeing that a lot with AVAX, with Near, with Phantom, with Base. I think, I guess it's like a logical step, and I love my fellow degens. Just like I am trying to temper my expectations, or we've always talked about here, Q, what like sitting on our ETH instead of degening so crazily into NFTs might have been like, right? And of course, like you said, if we all had good wins and we've all had some massive L's. So I am trying to approach these like alt chain plays, unless they're tokens, right? Like if they're tokens or coins, then they're tradable, then you should be tracking them, watching them, have like some type of entry and exit point. But if I'm going to do an NFT play in an alt chain, I want to be sure I'm going into the equivalent of a BAYC or Punk status in that ecosystem. I'm not just going to go because somebody says that they're going to be the next, preferably I would like to see that it's an NFT and a project that's been around during the bear and that the community has held strong. Otherwise,
It just doesn't feel like the meta
I'll
right
just
now.
take the crypto or the tokens instead.
That's fair, and I think you'll do well on it, right? If you overtrade on chasing the Solana pump, by the way, like you could get chopped up, you could lose out, you know. So
Which,
it's
by the way,
definitely a risk.
Have you picked up on that? Like I've picked up on a couple of people like starting to complain that like some of their transactions are failing on Solana.
No,
like,
no. If you could find a tweet, I would be able to pull it up.
Telegram channels, but it's starting to pop up and be a thing, and so I don't know.
So,
but I hope not.
Yeah, I got to squeeze in base here. I'm down to talk Solana tomorrow. I'd love to. I know a lot of people will be getting more involved. You got to have a Solana dude in your crew or gal in your crew at this juncture. I will say 2 things get me interested in base. So my mind went to base because I'm already there. I've been on Friendtech, right? But also the backing by Coinbase. There's a lot of things happening, including 2 things that get me bullish on potentially like getting in there before the masses, a la what's happening on Solana. This was the Jack Butcher Oviators, which are doing well. I think you said Gifted. So they sold, I think, 1,300 to 1,600 of these. There's going to be a digital component too. They're already
1,700. Oh, yeah, over 1,700 was the final locked supply.
Yeah, don't know why I faded doing this at all. Those digital pieces likely will do pretty well on base. The other thing that I'll mention, Racer hit us with, and I don't know if you can see the text there, but it says, "This Christmas, what if Santa gave us tokens? I hope you all keep warm watching the burn with loved ones this winter." That's the founder of Friendtech. So you're seeing a move for bigger artists to mint on the chain. You potentially get a Friendtech airdrop in December. Maybe it draws some eyes to that chain. And so I dove into base over the weekend. We don't have that much time to talk about it, but it was just something that I got motivated to do, and I felt like I needed to do it to try to, again, zig while everybody else is zagging over on Solana.
I think we're going to see a lot more of that this coming year.
I think it's smart, man. I think though in general, I think it's going to be tough to go wrong with Solana, Base, AVAX, some of these like proven, established, higher market cap L2s or faster L1s, because all of like DeFi is just going to thrive on these chains and GameFi too, right? But the higher frequency trading that's possible on Solana and AVAX and probably Base too is just nothing that you can achieve on Ethereum. And that's what I've been loving is like digging in. And like, again, I just learned about Jupiter, jupe.ag on Solana, and they have awesome DCA tools and limit order tools and all these different types of like high frequency trader tools that are, and it's just such a better experience over there. So I'm just super fucking bullish on DeFi, on Solana and Base and any of these sort of established, proven layer 2s.
That's fair. Then there's a ton of liquidity there. Go ahead, Biggie.
Yeah, I think like one of those moments where it really dawned on me that even beyond these like more obvious use case where you need that high throughput, right? Like DeFi and GameFi, like this botched launch by FX Hash, right, for their Ethereum side of
botched? They just delayed it.
Okay, fine, they delayed it, but it like there was a lot of hunger for that, and I have seen a lot of complaints saying like, man, I'm going to go into that ecosystem wanting to cop my favorite artists, and I'm going to end up getting in this tremendous gas war with everybody else, paying almost as much or if not more than what the piece is actually worth. And it's one of those moments I think the timing could have been more perfect with this alt chain meta going on and all these other launches going on, whether it's on Ordinals or Solana or AVAX or what have you. But I've seen a lot of people second guess their participation in that ecosystem solely based on the potential for a gas war and spending, more on, the transaction than the actual piece that they're trying to buy. I think, I mean, that's always been the argument for all chains, and usually people go to stuff like GameFi and DeFi, where again, you need that high throughput, right? But man, I'm seeing it even in something like just minting art. I do think a lot of people are kind of like fed up with having to pay those prices, and we will see it play out. Well, let's see how it affects it. But I think you're going to have to just be a way more choosy about what you buy on Ethereum versus when you have all these other options coming up on these alt chains, and potentially with maybe more rewards. I think the ecosystem in Ethereum is pretty established now. So anything being launched on there, you better have, a knack for delivering what you promise, and then again making your contracts as inexpensive as possible. If not, they're gonna eat your lunch.
If you can't mint on or join the Solana ecosystem, what would be the one that you go to that is not on Ethereum? Where are you going for opportunity right now that's not Solana?
I would probably do like Optimism, Arbitrum, and Base, and eventually Blast. Like the
Avalanche.
No, like I play some Avalanche, Near, and Solana, but to me, like I think the EVM meta still holds the most sway, right? Like, and I don't want to have to get a new wallet. And again, like for example, one of the things that bugs me a lot about Solana, I have yet to see a good explorer for Solana, right? Where I can see like how many, like take Bonk, for example. It's like, I want to see who the biggest holders of Bonk are, who's buying, who's selling, what the distribution's like. I can do that a lot easier on an EVM chain or EVM scan product than something like Solana, where it's just fucking impossible to decipher. Same goes for ordinals and BTC. I think that will be fixed eventually, but at this juncture, unless I'm like a really savvy Solana user, I don't want to have to go through that. I know EVM, so I'll stick with EVM, and like I mean, even AVAX, I think, is very much like it's very EVM friendly and easy to read. So I think you will see some really good plays on AVAX as well.
Yeah, I'm going to follow up here with Jesse Pollock, who's building over there on Base. Essentially, he's like leading up the charge on the Base protocol. I'd love to get Jesse on to actually, and I think this is the NFT Live account. Okay, so I followed him on my personal. Yeah, I'm going to try to get Jesse to talk about Base here. The one thing I will say, just to wrap up, at least on the Base side, there's several different plays that you can make. This also gives you a look at the different TVLs. So Arbitrum has 2.2 bill, Base has 200 million, Optimism 800 million. So that gives you kind of a sense of the scale of these different chains. Obviously, Friendtech is one of the more popular ones. You can also go to the Dex Tools website, and you can kind of follow the different tokens there and see what's been hitting and what's been hot based on the Base chain by itself, right? Just you can get a look at that ecosystem. And then there's NFT collections that have popped up as well. Look, my experience on the chain has been fantastic from a performance perspective. I mean, it feels almost better than Solana. Like, I've been interacting with Solana here, and it feels great. The apps are very bad, though. Like, when it comes to the look and just the products themselves. But that's a feature, not a bug, to being a new chain.
I agree with you, Q, on this wholeheartedly. I don't like. I mean, I'm not trying to shit on Solana. I have stuff on Solana. I want Solana to do well. Having said that, this like gargantuan fucking experience that they love to tout on how much faster it is and all this. I get that on AVAX. I get that on Base. I get that on Arbitrum. I get that on Optimism. I don't see a noticeable difference between any of this when it comes to transactions per second or usability. I'm sorry. That's been my personal experience. I would love to hear why. What finality is like on, say, Solana versus AVAX versus Near versus Phantom, which is launching Sonic, and I've been playing with that. If you want to try, like, if you want to try something that's like super fast, all of them are like sub-second fucking transactions. So to me, the thing about Solana that it has is that it's got that community that really knows how to pump their bags, baby. That's just what it is. but I don't see how that type of community cannot immediately migrate to another chain or go somewhere elsewhere the minute there's something better or if something goes wrong on Solana, right? Like we saw it already happen. So it's hard for me to drink from that Kool-Aid fountain once again. You know, I do it, but hesitantly and very cautiously. I'm not buying into this. It's the biggest, best, baddest. It's never going to go down again.
Yeah.
We're here forever. No, that sounds again like as if talking.
Squash is saying, "Pump my friend pet bags, baby." That's actually one of the projects here that I was like honing in on when it came to at least having some noticeable product, right? And this obviously like been super volatile. You can see like it went up 4 or 5x in the course of a few days, and then has kind of retraced with the entirety of the market. So Friend Pet is interesting to me here over there on base. Again, none of this is financial advice. It is slim pickings over here. So again, Friend Pet, not the biggest app. These aren't. Don't even start to compare this with even apps on Solana, right?
Is it still worth getting in? Because I didn't get in and do it at this point. Is it like did we miss all the alpha on Friend Pet? That's the question.
So it's retraced almost 50%. Right. When again looking at this chart with Friend Pet, it went up to like 0.8. Is that 0.8? What is this denominated in? So 0.75. It's now at 0.48 per. This can't be wrapped ETH, is it? That the supply is that. Oh no. Okay. So 48 cents. This is on the cents chart. So it's at 48 cents. It went to about 80 cents. Friend Pet again. We're kind of in the weeds here. It could totally take off. Again, you're thinking public is not there by any means. By any means, it hasn't got any sort of notoriety, that chain, other than maybe FriendTech. Am I losing you guys? You guys?
No.
Got a good connection? Okay, I saw some people like kind of glitching out. Anyways, yeah. I think maybe Squashman could give you a better look at the farming. Like if maybe you should be farming FriendTech. If it's going to be at 48 cents, if it's going to pump 600% in the course of 4 days, you might want to be over there on Friend Pet farming and see what that looks like.
Come on and school us on farming Friend Pet, bro.
Yeah. So I'm looking at that. I'm looking at the Friend Tech airdrop happening hopefully in December, that Racer alluded to. Otherwise, it's a mixed bag of a lot of DeFi farming, potentially NFTs, but nothing sustainable like you would see on ETH.
Thanks to Jito and Jupe, right? Like exactly. I think that definitely sparked the whole farming meta that we're in right now, where everybody wants to just go and do everything on every single chain. You know.
Here's my thing, Biggie, is like finding the dissonance in your own brain that tells you this is not going to work out. Because before Jito and before all these things like actually pumped, you couldn't make you had to be a little bit shrewd or luck. You had to be a little bit lucky to get a part of this. But like everyone can look back and say, oh, that Jito, that looks like a cool app. If it does, I was on the platform for maybe 5 minutes. Like it looked okay, but it's easy to make this call in retrospect, saying, oh, it was obvious. Jito was obvious. But you look at some of the apps over here on base, and you're like, which one is going to be that Jito? You got to do some research, get in there. But I just find it funny and comical that like people say, oh, that was an easy call after it's already happened. And so that's where you're at with base right now. The public's not there. The liquidity has yet to be there. Which one is it, if any? And then within that combo, to make it even more convoluted, the money could potentially go to AVAX. Or the money could go to, what's another one you mentioned, Biggie?
Phantom or Near or Arbitrum. There's an endless array of fucking, chains. And I think that's good. Like, I think you're going to see a lot of that next year where somebody will get this fat airdrop from some obscure chain that you never played with, or some, community NFT project is going to come out of left field. That's why, I'm here for it. I just, I think you got to like pick your spots and like temper your expectations. And it's like, and try not to get in on absolutely everything. Cause I do see I mean, it's great for the bankless peeps, but I've seen like so many people just start like going down the list of the airdrop guides
so
from bankless.
threads.
Just like, I'm gonna go through all of them. It's like, all right, like, I mean, I don't know. I'll do that, sure, with $50. If it'll take me a couple of minutes every now and then, I'll just like go and play with a couple of apps that I find interesting and in and out same day, and hopefully it works out. But I don't know. That's not my strategy. I definitely prefer looking for potential, like, more serious plays in these altcoins that I can just invest in and sit on at least a couple of months or a year or so and see how they perform.
All right, I've got to end the episode here. Squashman also in the comments saying FriendPit has potential, but thinks it's going to. I think it's going to take months of development for it to actually take off, assuming it does. But figured I'd play around with it since it's on base. He was also talking about some different burns that's happening with the token.
That's why we need you to school us, Squash. This is the moment for Professor Squash to tell us what's up.
All right, we got to get out of this episode here, folks. It's about an hour and 30 minutes that we've been here with you. We appreciate all your comments, all your likes, all your shares. It's just been awesome. Fisker, I see you saying excited to see what NFTs can do the next couple of years. So are we, man. As we kind of recap the 2023 season, now we're moving into 2024. We couldn't be more excited, man. Appreciate y'all. Digits, what did I learn from 2023? That there's too much shit going on and that I don't have enough liquidity. Amen, brother.
End time.
Dude, this is why I've been thinking about literally flooring fucking everything just to play the tokens right now. I don't know, man.
I wanted to give one last shout out here to my man. Look at
What's going on here?
What's in the box?
What's in the box?
I was really trying to show off this giveaway that you have, but yeah, we could. I mean, look at Gift Dead there in his cowboy hat. I appreciate it.
Taylor Maxis, bro. What's going on here? Look at Galaxy long, far away, long time ago. What is this? This back in Houston, bro?
This is meta. Gift Dead's watching himself. Oh, here we go.
Can be so much more than just a symbol of death, which is what it's been reduced to. A lot of people will dismiss it as simply that, but really it could represent so many different things.
All right. Well, I don't want to get hit with the copyright. I'll link that. You guys want to get hit with the 5-minute Gift Dead video? Check it out, man. I watched it twice.
I appreciate you, bro. That's awesome. Thanks, man. I mean, I know you've created some awesome coffins. It means a lot. It means a lot. There's a lot of thought that went into this project, and it's not just like something that I just threw together in a couple months. It's actually, it's a lot of different things, and I honestly haven't had enough opportunities to talk about it, so I made my own opportunity to talk about it.
All right, hit Gifted's profile there if you want to check the full length video. Also, Gif, I want to get out of here. We're at 1:27. I want to end the episode before hour 30. So briefly, special giveaway. What's going on? And then we got to get out.
Dude, I'm giving away one of my 3 trademarks by Jack Butcher. It's a 1 coffins holder. You got to mint 1 or more between now and when it closes Wednesday night at midnight. So you got a couple days. They're only $9 plus gas. Every coffin you mint between now and then is an entry into this giveaway, and 1 coffins winner will take home one of my trademarks that I can't really afford to give away, but I'm doing it anyway because I believe that much in coffins and I want more people to know about it.
Love it, man. All right. Last words from Biggie Poppins here, and then I'll take us out of here. Also, Squashman saying, I thought it was a new Post Malone video. It's pretty solid. All right, Biggie, what's up, man?
OVOT, fam. It's going to be a phenomenal week. I can already tell. I'm glad I was able to make it today, and I will see you tomorrow.
All right, we will see you tomorrow. Thank you for tuning in, our Vibe, our tribe.